Okay. Call the meeting to order for the March 3rd or 4th, 2025 regular meeting of council at 7 p.m. Adoption of the agenda. Resolved that the agenda for March 4th, 2025 regular meeting of council be adopted. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Since we don't have all of council here tonight, we're not allowed to do any additions, but if there's any removals, we can do that. Seeing none, so all in favor of the agenda as presented?
Agree.
Carried. Confirmation of the minutes. Resolved that the minutes from the February 18, 2025 regular council meeting be approved. Everybody has a copy of the previous meetings attached to the agenda. Any errors or omissions or corrections to be noted? Pardon me, move first. Or did I do that already? Okay, so moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Now discussion. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, all in favor?
Agree.
Carried. Section 4, reception and delegations, 4.1. We have Mr. Bill Gabe from the Swan Valley Chamber of Commerce to present to council and ask any questions at the request that council had asked for him to come here to present. So,
you know how hard it is to not put my hand up when you're asking for the vote? It's difficult. When you sit in the gallery, you're not supposed to be involved. Well, good evening. Go ahead.
So before you start, Mr. Gabe, I know it says, and I believe that the request was for the Chamber of Commerce, but I think there was some blurring of the questions, like or requests for RISE. So we'll save that towards the end if we have time for it. But we'll start off with the Chamber of Commerce presentation.
Very good.
Q&A with that. So go ahead.
Hey, I'm sure we can use up the whole night if we try.
Nope, we got a long agenda, so I'll cut you off at the time.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here. It's probably the first time since I've been in Chamber, I think, that we've come to discuss things with the town, so thank you for the invitation. It was nice to get invited. I've got a brief presentation to go through, and I know council has some questions, so we'll get into that a bit too towards the end. You can hold your questions and applause until we get to that part. So council presented a list of questions they wanted to hear about, which is kind of where we got to, and my apologies, I didn't get the paperwork in sooner. We just couldn't get it done in time to get it attached to the agenda. So the first thing Chamber was kind of asking about was, or council was asking about, was Chamber operations, what's been happening there. So I think it's fairly common knowledge that during COVID, Chamber didn't do so well. Meetings kind of stopped happening for about 2.5 years, and it was kind of just almost like The Walking Dead. It wasn't doing very much. There was a little bit going on, but there hadn't been an AGM for several years. So as COVID ended, we had an AGM, and most of the board that was there at the time felt they wanted to retire. So we ended up with a fairly new board for Chamber, and over the next few months, a couple of the people that had been there before decided they too wanted to retire. So at this point, Chamber's got a brand new board of directors, which spans from a couple members of your council, I'm there from our council, but also some business people, and many of us wear multiple hats, because I'm there as a business owner as well. I know Mayor Jacobson's there because he owns a business. He's not assigned by council, but he attends the meetings. We even have some interested community members now that come to the meetings, which is nice to have them on the board. So what we've been up to the last little while, our building at 1500 Main Street, what many people call the tourism building, we call it the Chamber building. We're leasing space there right now to the Ag Society and the Community Foundations. Their offices both operate out of that building. We make the meeting space available to them, but also to other nonprofits. So there's a few different groups that meet in the basement. We did the flag display in 2023. We probably need to do it again this spring. They're starting to be a little bit raggedy again. So we'll be replacing all the flags and putting back the couple that seem to have disappeared on us. And these days, we now actually answer the phone 5 days a week, which is something the Chamber hasn't done for many years, but we do actually have someone answering the phone. They aren't there, we have the calls forwarded, but it gets answered. We do the Monster Parade in July, which is very soon now. The new theme for this year will be out. I have a suspicion it's going to be something about Canada, just from how things have gone the last few weeks, but we'll see. We've been doing the Chamber insurance plan for local businesses, so that's health benefits. We sell that to a whole bunch of businesses, and the Chamber gets a portion of that. We operate the Chamber Bucks program, which is primarily busy around Christmas time, but we do see some of that throughout the year. A lot of employers use that as bonus bucks at Christmas time for their employees. There's some income tax benefits to the employees and the employers for doing it that way. So we sell several $1,000s worth of those gift certificates every year, and then they get redeemed at local businesses. It ties those folks into having to spend locally. Something that's fairly new for us is the Explorer Pass program. We've been doing that in conjunction with medical recruitment. So Chamber operates that program as part of Chamber Bucks. So the coupons that go out through medical recruitment end up back at Chamber, who writes the check for them and aggregates that all together into a report to medical recruitment once in a while to get the money back. So Chamber looks after the back end of that. We also provide some support services to other groups. Chamber's been doing the crime prevention initiatives, the valley-wide camera program that Chamber Council is fairly familiar with from the things we've done here. The Chamber Patrol program, we have that vehicle. We got into some of the alarm monitoring, and I think many of you saw a presentation on that at the G4 meeting just a few days ago, so we talked about that there. So I won't go too deep into it tonight unless you have questions. We have the VHF radio system that's part of that set up. And this year we're working on reestablishing retail promotions to get back into that more traditional Chamber space where we used to see the Chamber operate a lot. Council asked about memberships and financial. The previous membership drive amounted to 55 to 60 paid members. Under the Constitution of the Chamber, you continue to be a member unless you're evicted by the board. So the board hasn't chosen to evict anyone for not paying membership dues. That started in COVID because there were a lot of businesses that were hurting, and we didn't want to throw them out of Chamber because they couldn't afford to pay their membership. We wanted to keep them there. So we kind of have a paid list and we have an everybody else list. And the goal is to get everybody back onto the paid list. So we've been making progress on that over time, but it's not as quick as we would like. Membership drive for 2025 is ongoing. This year the membership is $225 for business members, $89 for community members and nonprofits. So we do have some people that are just interested citizens paying that $89 to be part of Chamber. Primarily though, it's businesses. Chamber was losing money for a lot of years. It wasn't huge amounts, but $400, $500, $600 a year, sometimes $1,000 a year, which had over the COVID season eaten through most of the reserves Chamber had. When I came along, there was only a couple $1,000s left at Chamber. It was getting a little scary, and there was fairly open talk about selling the building because they didn't think they'd be able to keep it. Things have turned around quite a lot since then. We eliminated the admin position we had, which had been 10 hours a week. They moved on to another job, and we just didn't replace them. So that's meant that the board is doing more of that work, but it saved some money. We also stopped doing external financial audits. There's no requirement for the Chamber to have them. It was a requirement for the town to provide financial statements. So when we looked into that a lot, I think the Chamber had this misunderstanding it had to be audited statements, when really what the town was asking for was statements. So every year when the town would provide the $8,000, Chamber would then spend a little over $6,000 producing audited financial statements to get the $8,000 check. So the end result was there was only about $2,000 going to Chamber, which kind of seemed silly to everybody at the Chamber side, which is why you've seen the financial statements change a little bit the last couple of years. Partnered with Parkland Tourism to do the web hosting and the phones. Chamber had been spending over $600 a year on things like web hosting. So now they don't spend anything on that. And same thing with the phones, we saved quite a bit there. 2022 was the last year of kind of that old board. Losses that year were $417. In here I talk about profits, but it's a non-profit group, so it's not really profit, it's the money going back into those reserves. So in 2023, the statement showed $16,588.19 as profit. 2024, we're not quite done the financials yet, they're getting close. We're still reconciling bank accounts. We're going to be around that $12,500 2024. And there is unfortunately work to be done on the building. If you've seen it, two sides of it need to be painted yet. So that money will likely end up going to the building here in short order. There's some questions on future and vision for the chamber. I want to underscore again how far it's come. I'm pretty happy with where it is. I think, even at the AGM, when I first showed up there was a discussion about should we just close the chamber and not do this anymore. I think that would have been a loss to the town. I'm sure people would have picked up the parade, but would they have picked up everything else? I don't know if I want to live in a community that doesn't have a chamber. To me, it's kind of an important deal. Some goals we have, we want to further expand the camera project. We have more to install. We need to get some more volunteers trained. But we also have to do the RCMP training. That hasn't been completed yet. The system's online and ready for them, but they don't know how to use it yet. We need to work a little bit on this chamber patrol idea. When that started, it was to be in conjunction with COPP. It was to work together. But for whatever reason, the two groups have not come together. And we need to figure out a solution for that because we have a bunch of resources that we could be contributing to the Citizens on Patrol program. And it doesn't make sense to be doing two separate things when it could be together, but that's on our list to figure out. We want to make a little more use of the crime resources we built. When we built the video and the alarms and all of that, we built for big solutions. We can take 10,000 users on those systems. So we want to figure out how to better use that for more nonprofits and maybe even other communities. We'll do some more expansion of retail promotions. We're going to talk about one in a moment. With an aim of 3 or 4 a year, like Chamber used to do. We used to see something at Christmas and something in the spring, and usually something for rodeo. We're trying to be a little sneaky about the shopping local things, so we're not just beating everybody over the head saying shop local or else. We're trying to give them some reasons to shop local rather than just guilting them into it. Want to do some more work with Rise and some others, do some more promotion and tourism, and to me that's two separate things, right? Promoting the town is very different than just doing tourism, but both need to be done. We do have applications in from the Chamber for summer students to do a lot of that tourism work, which would cross over into the Rise world, but Chamber is set up with payroll accounts and workers' comp and all of that. So the applications went through Chamber, so it's a little easier going. And Chamber's also been discussing, as we all have, that committee assistance position that we're looking at doing something for the various committees as a possible home for it. It wouldn't be much fun to come here without an ask, so I brought one. We'd love to see that $8,000 continue and perhaps expand. In a perfect world, we would see every business in town benefit from the chamber, whether or not they paid a membership. And as you go through budgeting, if there's a way to do anything there, it would certainly be appreciated. We'd like a seat at the table to talk about accommodation tax. As that gets more rolled out, I think Chamber would like to be there representing some interests for the business community and how we could make that work really good for everybody. And we'd like some assistance from the town in promoting what the Chamber can do for some of the nonprofits. Some of the stuff we can get into with web hosting for them, some of the other resources we can provide. When you folks run across them, sometimes you can just remind them of Chamber. The other thing tonight I wanted to go through is the April Shop Local promotion. So you all received your very first scratch and win card tonight. This promotion is a retail promotion. It's running April 2nd while supplies last, so we expect it'll go about 3.5, 4 weeks in April. There's 20,000 of these tickets printed so far. It's a 1 in 20 win rate, so there's 1,000 prizes available. We're using for this that $8,000. And you can see from the marketing material that you have tonight, we're opening it up to non-members as well. And the message to the non-members is that $8,000 is coming from taxation. We believe it should be benefiting all businesses in the valley, not just those that pay their membership. But we've structured it so there's a reason to buy a membership. You get to participate in a small way if you're a non-member. If you've paid your chamber membership dues, you get to participate in a much bigger way. So we're kind of excited about it. It's pretty good timing with everything that's going on in the world. And it comes back to that sneaky shopping local. Nothing here says shop local, but the messaging is there. If you shop in the Swan River Valley, you can win a prize. If you don't shop here, no prize for you. So we're kind of excited about it. I've been talking to a lot of businesses. I think quite a few will be on board. It should be a fairly robust promotion throughout the town. So there's your nutshell view.
Any questions from Councillor Whyte?
3 or 4, 2 to 3. That space for the nonprofit groups in your chamber building, is that free?
We have been doing it for free. Most of them are only meeting a couple times a year.
Yeah.
And for that, we haven't really said, originally there was a fee for it. So if somebody's there every week, we're going to talk about the usage amount. But for the groups, we had the Cottage Association, I think, there a couple times in a year. For 2 meetings a year, let them use it. It needs to be used.
How do you let the public know about that?
We haven't done a lot of promotion on it.
That's the dark side. I appreciate what's doing, it's all wonderful. But every once in a while, people want to use this office, and it's like your office, it's not always available. I wasn't privy to the fact that yours was. The second part from Chamber, Future and Vision, obviously there's a bit of an impasse with COPP and your team, and you say you want to get together. Is there a plan? Have you guys picked a date, say, hey, we got together, let's bury the hatchet. If there is a hatchet, let's find ways we can work collaboratively, let's make things happen for the valley as a whole, as opposed to one group doing this. And I get frustrated with this, and I'd like to see that plan, point form, here's what we're going to do, here's some of our plans, here's things we could do, here's the areas of opportunity. And there's far more opportunity. I haven't seen one that we couldn't get around yet personally. So COPP director is on board tonight. You guys are thinking about getting together for a date sometime? Councillor, this was going right up to you. Councillor Medwid.
I believe the questions are to be directed to the delegation and through the chair.
Chair, am I not allowed to ask a councillor if they can meet with the delegation?
Right now, we have a delegation right now, so that we're asking the delegation questions.
It's interesting. Don't agree with it at all. That's fine, and that's the rules. Relative to the accommodation tax, I can't speak for council, but we are still at a discussion stage where those monies might go. And I would encourage you, if you have some ideas or some concepts that, hey, this might be a good place to spend the money, better bang for your buck. If we don't, I'm not sure. We're going to have a community meeting. Were we talking about that at all, Your Worship?
Once we hear more on the accommodation tax, if it's approved by the Lieutenant Governor and that, we will definitely have more meetings to make that going forward. But if it's denied by the Lieutenant Governor, there's no sense having meetings if nothing is occurring.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's still an opportunity. What's that last one there? See at the table. Yeah, you also provide, which I think is important for our listening audience, is one of the reasons I say these things too, regardless of your delegation. Swan Valley Sport Fish, we have a 500-person dinner every year, and your entity gives us a free promo which goes to all the businesses in the valley.
Point of order. I'm not sure what the Swan Valley Fish has to do with the chamber delegation.
I think it has a lot to do with the
Okay, Councillor Whyte, point of order is needs to move on. Okay. Can we have order in the chamber? Okay, Councillor Whyte, can you finish your question so that I can understand?
The question is, then I'll reverse the question. Will you provide advertising for groups like Swan Valley Sport Fishing to promote their dinner? Free.
That's changed a little bit in the last few years because of the new spam regulations for email. So we do send that information out for free to groups, to all paid members, but we can't send it to unpaid members unless they give us permission to email them. So not every single business gets it, but as many as we can get it to get
So I
it.
can talk to you later about sport fishing. Okay, thank you. I'm done.
Any other questions from Council? Councillor Bobick.
Just when you mentioned here the annual grant on the business tax being used, like does the RM have business taxes that, are they involved also with
So the
something like this
RMs
chamber?
don't have business tax, but Swan Valley West is contributing to the chamber.
Okay, so,
They've been paying for the registration on the patrol vehicle and a little bit extra towards that program.
okay, but at the same time, like this is a Swan Valley Chamber of Commerce, right?
Right.
So I'll take a store in Gnida, for example, they could belong to the chamber.
Yes.
Benefit on this, okay?
Do you have a question?
No,
Councillor Powell?
that was pretty much my question right there.
Okay. Councillor Medwid, any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple clarifications and questions. One is, it's the actual chamber constitution that required the chamber to have a formal audit done each year. And in regards to collaboration between the Chamber of Commerce and Swan Valley COPP, Swan Valley COPP is an entity unto itself. We have our own set of constitution, bylaws, and mandates that are not in line with the Chamber of Commerce. So Chamber of Commerce chose to go and start their own independent program, and that's exactly what it is, 2 separate programs. We are not one and the same. We have separate mandates, separate constitutions, separate bylaws, and separate goals. So that is why there's not a collaboration between the two, and I would like for it to be recognized as being 2 separate entities, as they are. I did want to clarify whether or not the Chamber of Commerce is receiving contributions from all 4 municipalities.
So can I respond to the first part that she's wrong about?
Okay, yeah, I'll be interested. We have 10 minutes left here,
Okay.
so.
So the Chamber Constitution does not require an external audit. It requires an audit committee of the board to review the financials, which we are complying with. We've received contributions from the town of Swan River and from the municipality of Swan Valley West. We've not received contributions from Minnetonka's Bozeman or from Mountain.
Okay. And then the second question. Yeah.
What's the second question? I got lost, sorry.
Does all 4 municipalities contribute?
So the town of Swan River contributes, Swan Valley West contributes, Minnetonka's Bozeman and Mountain do not. So 2 do, 2 do not.
Okay. Any other question, Councillor Medwid?
Yes, I do have a couple, and clarification. The current constitution may not require for the chamber to have a formal audit done, but the previous constitution did in fact have that in there. I don't have the constitution in front of me right now. It's at home and I'm not there, but it is written in the previous constitution, which is why a formal audit was required by the chamber. My other question is, on the Chamber's website, there is no list of current directors for the Chamber, and the member directory only shows 34 active members. And of those 34 listed in the member directory, it does not list, well, whether or not all the board of directors have an active membership, be it for 2024 or 2025. So I am wondering if the Chamber can provide to Council confirmation that in 2024 and 2025, all members of the board, including the executive, did in fact have active membership, because that is actually part of the Constitution, that any member of the board of directors has to have an active membership in order to be on the board.
So, Your Worship, with as much respect as I can muster, the Chamber of Commerce is in the business of promoting businesses and making this community better, not going on fishing expeditions for Councillor Medwid. She was a board member. She chose to resign, and she obviously has some sort of personal vendetta here that she's trying to follow up. We'll gladly provide the information Council requests. If you send a request, we'll provide it, but we won't provide it on her verbal say-so.
Okay, thank you. CEO Tewnion, you got that taken down for the question? Thank you. Councillor Medwid, any other follow-up question?
One second, I think I might have had them covered.
Okay.
Yeah, that covers what I had for
Okay.
questions.
Okay, so just one of the questions we had regarding the chamber was the status of the financials and stuff like that, and you are going that, and then you had sent CFO Gnida a 2024 profit loss adjustments, but we haven't received anything before at all, like even just the regular profit loss statements. So none of that is ready at this point? Or?
So the profit loss was presented to the board along with that adjustment statement, which shows the profit loss doesn't properly show the chamber bucks, and it doesn't show the deferred funding for the cameras. So that's where the adjustments came in. The bank account is just about reconciled, so I would suspect within the next month the financials will be done. Last year the financials weren't done until October, November. So this year, if they're done in March, April, we've done a lot better than we had before. But the point of that was to show what we're expecting it to show. It wasn't to try to replace the financials.
Okay, so we can have administration send a formal letter, but can you send the financials to where they are at this date, so we can, our CFO can take a look at it and ask any questions as you go through the completion of that process?
We can, but last time we did, you guys said they were useless.
Okay.
So we can send what we have, but it doesn't look like financial statements until they're done, right? It just looks like a profit loss statement.
Okay. CFO Gnida, is there anything other that you need in particular from the Chamber of Commerce while we have Mr. Gate here?
I was under the impression that tonight's delegation would be Rise, so I wasn't prepared to discuss chamber.
Okay. Okay. That's it. So, and if you can follow up, Mr. Gate, I just had a question as a follow-up from the presentation from the G4 with the cameras and the purchase. And I understand like a lot of the grant from the criminal forfeiture grant and the town's grant with that was to be used to set up the sort of, I guess, like the command center where there's a central area to be visible and stuff like that, along with some hardware to be used. Can you confirm that the hardware that's being disseminated right now from the grant, like with the grant and the town's money, is that just within the town, or is that being expended, or hardware being allocated to outside the town?
So no hardware that was paid for with the grant monies has left Swan River. There has been hardware go outside of Swan River that was paid for by other places.
Okay, so okay, that answers the question I got. Okay, so I don't think there's an issue where people tying into the central thing where the monies were set up for it, but there might be an issue where using town grant monies to fund hardware going outside the town with that.
There's going to be some close, like there's going to be some right close to the line to the north and the south, but if it's over the line, it'll be by 10 feet just to get that camera angle. It's not intended to leave the town.
Okay, good. Okay, so we only got about a minute left here, and I know, like I had said before, that was sort of quasi-rise, or chamber and some rise. When can the town expect the 2023 financials from Rise?
So
As a sidebar.
we got a list from the town a few days ago of exactly what you wanted.
Okay.
It isn't finished yet. Most of it's put together. We're just going through making sure the bank statements are all there, the invoices are all there, the minutes are all done. We use AllNet for the minutes, so we'll just print those out. So it's not going to be very long.
Okay,
And it has all been put into QuickBooks, but again, financial statements weren't made, and that was where the confusion came the last few weeks, because one day it was invoices, one day it was financial statements, and it was back to invoices. So I think we have it settled what the town wants now. So we're going to go and do that, and then if you still want financial statements after that, we can generate them. But we'll give that other stuff first and see if it's what answers your questions.
because right now, with the absence of the 2023 financials from Rise, that's holding up our town audit where we're missing those documents and we can't proceed, so
Okay.
we're under a little bit of a pressure to get those done. Okay, so thank you very much for coming here. I think there might be some follow-up questions regarding Rise on another evening, but this is a good discussion to start with the chamber for it, so thank you for accepting the invitation to come forward and present.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So 7:30, so resolved that the regular meeting of council be closed to the public and the public hearing on conditional use order 1.2025 be opened. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Powell. All in favor?
Agree.
Carried. So, let's see. Calling the meeting to order to hear conditional use of application number 1/2025. Mr. Tewnion?
You have the second line.
Oh, right. The purpose of the hearing is to hear representation for or against the following conditional use to allow the operation of a coffee bar and gift/decor shop.
And the requirements of section 169 of the Planning Act have been adhered to.
Okay. I request that any person making representation to the hearing state their name and civic address, either for or against. So I will open the floor to the applicant or the owner first. Yeah, so if you want to come forward to the table there and
So my name is Pat Barkman of Swan River, Manitoba.
Okay, and what was last name?
Barkman,
Barkman.
Barkman.
Okay. Got that for the record, Mr. Tewnion? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so we saw this property that came up for sale, and it kind of piqued our interest. That's a joint effort between myself and Roland Wilgama. They've run a gift shop for a number of years, and we have been roasting and serving coffee drinks for a number of years out of our own facility out in the country. And it seemed like a good opportunity to bring it into Swan River.
Okay.
We've heard feedback from our customers that Swan River needs a coffee shop. And we thought with some of the experience we've had already and what our customers are asking for, we thought it would be a good opportunity.
Okay. Any questions from council to Mr. Barkman? Councillor Powell?
Okay, so I guess it is, the plan is, and I've kind of read it, it is have a coffee shop and a gift store as well.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess coffee shop as in, I guess obviously you produce coffee.
Yeah, we're roasting coffee at the, like now we're roasting and selling coffee in different locations here in Swan River. And the coffee shop would be, serving specialty coffee drinks, your lattes, your iced coffees, and that kind of a thing. Probably some, muffins, other dainties as well. Kind of make it a classic coffee shop. That's the idea.
And so where are you located right now? Where are you?
Well, so I run a repair shop. I'm not really a coffee guy.
Okay.
But got some experience with roasting coffee with my dad, and we've been roasting coffee for 4 years now.
Okay.
And we started just making drinks for friends and things like that, and they're just saying, you guys do a good job, you should have a coffee shop. So
Councillor Whyte?
Do you have a guess at hours?
pardon me?
What would your shift be, 7 days a week, 9 to 5?
That's a good question. I think it would be probably more like 6 days a week, and probably early. I think we'd want to target some early customers, so maybe more like 7 to 4. We've kind of been visiting coffee shops around the country, if you want to say it that way, for a while, and just checking on their hours and how they do things. So we'd probably want to do for sure 6 days a week, but it would be more the early, let's say 7 to 4, or maybe have special evenings. Let's say maybe open on a Thursday evening till 9, or we're kind of, I guess, open to what our customers like.
And how many staff do you predict you might have?
We will probably need 2 full-time staff to run the coffee shop and the gift shop. The girls that have done we have what we call coffee shop evenings at at my shop, actually, out in the country. And they've got some experience with serving large amounts of people in a short time. They just have their friends come over and they're basically trying out their skills, if you want to say it that way. So,
Any other questions, Councillor Bobick?
So I imagine, I don't know, I would hope you would imagine, hopefully too, that there'll be an increase in traffic in that area, so, but I would imagine that parking lot would hold every vehicle that you would need to have there. There would be no need for parking on the streets, I guess is what I'm asking.
yeah, I don't think so. Like, that was probably one of the big things in viewing that property was, wow, we have lots of parking.
Yeah.
That was really important to us. In some ways, they say location is your best option. Probably a Main Street eastern location might be better for just location and visibility, but there's no parking. So then it seemed like that was a lot better option. And it might bring the idea of we're going back into this quiet part, and your quaint coffee shop, it should be quiet, shouldn't be a loud place, if you want to say it that way.
Go ahead.
So just with the conditional use, I guess my question is, in the future, if the applicant decided to turn it into a repair shop, that wouldn't be allowed with that conditional use, would be strictly for a coffee shop, nothing else could change.
that would be, I believe, correct. Is that the use, conditional use would be specifically to the request for a coffee gift shop type deal.
I'll say one thing, I've been talking a lot about the coffee shop part of it. That's my part of the focus. Roland's part is more the gift shop, which is more just displays and selling specialty stuff that they've collected. So that part's more of a static part of it, and the coffee shop would be the
But
dynamic.
the intent and the operations can't change beyond what is being required in the conditional
Yeah,
use.
And that's in there, the give the T4s in there.
Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you.
Councillor Medwid, do you have any questions?
Yes, hello, Mr. Barkman. How are you doing today?
Doing fine, thank you.
I am very happy to hear and see this come across council's table. I think it is a great idea, getting a little coffee shop going in the community. I'm familiar with the area. Within a couple blocks radius, you've got a brand new MMS daycare center. You've got another daycare, the Kinsman one, I believe, a couple blocks in another direction. And you've got a junior high school just down the street. So in my mind, I don't think you're going to draw that much more traffic than what those facilities already do within that community and area. So I don't know that that's going to be too much of an issue or concern, especially with hearing what kind of hours you're predominantly going to be offering. I think it's great that it may extend into little evening events, maybe a pop-up market here or there. Would be nice to see as well, but I think it would be a great way of repurposing that building and keeping things alive in that community, in that area.
Thank you.
Okay. No other questions from council to the applicant? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Bob.
So will we be voting on this right after the closing of the
No,
hearing?
it's later on in the agenda.
Later on?
Yeah.
Can't move that ahead, so we'll be voting.
We will deal with the hearing first and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay. No other comments from council to the applicant? I'll open the floor to any other comments for or against to the application.
Are we going to read the two letters? There was one for and one
Yes.
against?
Yes, Councillor Medwid, I will do that once the people in the gallery have their chance to speak. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, my name's Roland Wogemuth. I'm from, I guess, Durban, Manitoba, you could say. So yeah, like Pat was saying, my side of it is the gift side of it. My wife has ran a gift shop for, well, it really started about 11 years ago. It started very low key, and it's slowly built up, and it's actually been run on right on my farm for the last 6 years. Been in my old farm shop, and it's got to the point where it's kind of outgrown it there, and probably would benefit from being in town, as well as it's looks like something that our town could definitely use as far as the product we sell. So yeah, that was just gonna mention where that was from my side.
Okay. Questions, Councillor Powell?
I guess I would have to ask, what kind of product is it? Like what kind of?
So it would be from giftware, like wall plaques to kitchen, kind of specialty kitchen things like Pyrex dishes and specialty pots and pans that you can't really get in the area. And then there would be a little bit of fabric and then some, like kitchen utensils and things like that type of thing. Probably the biggest area would be the home decor, plaques and giftware and things like that.
Okay.
Councillor Whyte?
Would you have more staff in addition to the other two with the coffee yet, or did it say?
So, yeah, it's a good question. So right now, I mean, we're thinking that Pat's probably gonna need 1.5 and we'll need about half. So no, it would be in just those two at this time. Yeah.
I like having people working. That's good.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council?
Yes, I have a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
I was wondering if it was your wife that might be running the gift shop area. She does a wonderful job of consignment, which is predominantly local makers, as well as some, well, as you mentioned, some of the kitchenware companies and suppliers. But very quaint shop. If people have not been out to his farm to see it, you really should go see it. You'll have an idea of what they're likely going to be bringing into the town when they set up the gift phase there, and
Okay.
it's
Councillor Medwid,
going to
do you have a
be wonderful for. Yes, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
It'll be great for our local makers, and it'll help to boost the economy. So,
Okay, Councillor Medwid,
thank
can
you
we get
very
to your
much.
question?
That's it.
Okay, any other comments from council or questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for or against from the gallery?
I was just here because that's in my backyard,
Okay?
but I'm all for it.
Okay.
I want to see it
Okay,
go.
before you, can you come to the table, you got your name and
Sorry.
address, please?
My name's Teresa Strelayev, and I live, that's our backyard, basically. I am
Silverwood
for,
Drive?
sorry?
Silverwood Drive?
Yes.
Could you spell your last name, ma'am?
Strilaeff.
Okay, go ahead.
I am for it because I like to see something good come out of that and not something that's going to encourage some disruptive behavior in that yard. I think it will be bringing in some great people, and everybody will enjoy going to a coffee shop and have gatherings there and visiting, and I just feel it would be good for the community.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that's all I had to say.
Okay. Okay, no other comments from the gallery? Before I read the two written letters to the thing, I just wanted to let the applicants know aware that this is a change of occupancy to that building, so there would be a requirement for a fire inspection in that building before you can get your occupancy permit. Okay, so just to make you aware of that should that go ahead and be passed by resolution tonight to accept the conditional use, likely one of the conditions would be to have the requirement for a fire inspection. Okay? And they're free from the town, you just have to coordinate that with the fire chief. Okay, okay, so I will read into the record the two correspondences that were received in regards to it. The first one is from Johnny Wintoniw, President of the Ukrainian Catholic Church of All Saints of Swan River, Manitoba. Letter dated March 4th, 2025. It says, Dear Mayor and Council of the town of Swan River, I am writing to express my strong support for the rezoning of the Ukrainian Catholic Church of All Saints Parish from the current designation as a place of worship to a commercial property. I believe that this change will significantly contribute to both business and community growth, as well as foster a vibrant flow of customers to the surrounding area. Enhancing the economic vitality. It says, repurposing this historic structure into the commercial space presents an exciting opportunity to stimulate the local economy. The introduction of new businesses can generate increased foot traffic, attract diverse clientele, and support existing local enterprise. A revitalized property will not only create new job opportunities, but will also generate additional municipal tax revenue, which can be reinvested in the community infrastructure and services. Community growth and adaptive reuse. Transforming the building into a commercial hub aligns with the modern urban development strategies that emphasizes adaptive reuse of historic structures. By converting the church into a space for commerce, we preserve its architectural legacy while adapting to meet the contemporary economic needs. This approach can serve as a model for future projects, inspiring similar initiatives that balance heritage preservation with economic innovation. Supporting local businesses. The proposed rezoning is expected to support local businesses' growth by creating an an environment where new ventures can thrive. Increased commercial activities will drive more customers into the area, further energizing the local marketplace and encouraging the development of contemporary services. This dynamic shift can help position our community as a forward-thinking, economically vibrant local. I respectfully urge the Town Council to consider the long-term benefits of this rezoning proposal. Embracing this change will not only honor our community's history, but also pave the way for a prosperous and diverse economic future. Thank you for your time and for your dedication to fostering the community and economic growth. Sincerely, Johnny Wintoniw, President. So that was the letter received from them, and I just want to note wherever he was referring to rezoning in the letter, it's actually a conditional use application. It's not, we're not going through the rezoning process. Second letter received by Rob Rosenholt on March 2nd of 2025, property 1306 Section Street South. It says, we do not want a store or restaurant running in a residential area due to increased traffic, etc. We also think for the future, as once it becomes a store, coffee shop, who knows what will go in there next. Rob and Deb Rosenholt, 1320 2nd Street South. So that would be an objection to the okay. See if no one else has joined us. No other comments? So one last opportunity for people to, for or against. Nothing. Okay. Upon hearing all persons present, resolve that the public hearing be adjourned and the regular meeting be reopened. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Powell. All in favor? Carried.
Agree.
There was a request from Councillor Bobick to move up the resolution that was later in the agenda to now. Is I'm understanding that's the
Correct, yeah.
correct? Is there any objection from council to do that? Okay, so just let me find that here. I gotta slide down. So it's at 8.4. Okay. Resolve that the conditional use 1/2025 be approved with the condition that the fire inspection be conducted. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion. Councillor Powell.
Just that we wish you all the best and we support you in your newest endeavors.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Agree.
Okay, resolution motion is carried. So, thank you very much. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you want, or you can head out if you so choose.
Make some coffee.
Okay. I trust our administration will be in contact with you guys in the next steps.
Okay,
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
We'll go back, so we'll go back to our point in the meeting. Proposed conditional use, we have no recept. So section 6, communication. 6.1. Resolved that the letter from the Association of Manitoba Municipalities dated February 5th, 2025 regarding the AMM Trading Company rebate be received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion. Basically, it's just a letter that tells us how much of our rebate that we're getting for our purchases through the AMM Trading Company. So, all in favor?
Agree.
Carried. 6.2, Prairie Climate Forecast Card. Resolved that the Prairie Climate Forecast Card of the province of Manitoba be received. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion. If you had seen in the agenda, I guess the province is putting forward to each community a new climate trending card for review for people to see the traditional history and the forecast of where, I guess, climate is going in the town of Swan River. So it's basically there for information. So, all in favor?
Agree.
Carried. 6.3, letter from ratepayers. Resolved that the letter from Dennis Adamchuk and Carla Vanopny dated February 24, 2025 be received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. I believe the letter is attached. Director Harvey.
So I spoke with Mr. Adamchuk, and I just let him know that it's part of the budget process. Until that budget process is finalized, we won't have word on that. So he said, okay, sounds good. I just want to make sure I'm up to date.
So you gave him the update. Okay, perfect. So, all in favor? Councillor Bobick.
I have a question.
Okay, Councillor Bobick first.
So is it in the budget now?
It's in the budget, but I still have to do that report on the distances for you. So I should have that in a week or two, and then you guys can make the decision whether it stays in the budget or you guys are currently it's in. But I still have a report to give to council.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Medwid.
That was my question, was to confirm, because I had previously asked for that report of whether or not it qualifies within our parameters with whatever policy we have for distancing of light, and how that gets funded, if it is and if it isn't.
Okay, all in favor? It's carried.
Agree.
6.4, resolved that the letter from the Manitoba Municipal and Northern Relations regarding the 2025 Property Assessment Services levy be received. The letters there attached. So moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion. This is an annual amount invoiced from the Manitoba Northern Municipal and Northern Relations for the assessment services that the town receives from that department. So, all in favor?
Agree.
Carried. Okay, so reports. Resolved that the Director of Public Works report be received. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Whyte. The report is attached. Any questions to Mr. Harvey? No questions? All in favor?
Just more or less a comment. It's, I like the report how it explains everything very well. That's probably why there is no question, so thank you for that.
Okay, that's why the reports are there. Councillor Powell.
I guess the other thing to note is that, thank you for this very much, but also to note that I know that you've been busy with other things as well, so I just want to make sure we acknowledge that you've been doing two things, so.
Councillor Whyte.
I didn't spot it there, probably is access to the columbarium. Do they dig that out ever now and then?
Yeah, that should be snow cleared.
Pardon?
Yeah, the access to the columbarium should be snow cleared when they do the rest of the cemetery. Has it not been?
Apparently it needs it.
Okay, thank you. I'll follow up with the form.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Agree.
Okay. Council reports. I'll start with Councillor Medwid.
I did get to a couple community safety well-being meetings and community of practice. I have been actually out of the community for a medical emergency, so I have not been able to make my other meetings. I missed the G4 meeting as well as our Cal meeting on the 25th.
Councillor Bobick.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to let you know, Monday we have a watershed meeting, more or less to do with our budget, to finalize it, just to add to, I think I spoke on this before, but this year, the watershed's budget will be around the $2 million that we will be bringing into the valley, so excited about that. Also attended the G4 meeting, lots of interesting subjects, that went very well. Thank you.
Councillor Powell.
Yeah, basically, I know we attended the G4 meeting, we've had a Cal meeting, but I think the G4 meeting was really informative in lots of ways. We met with different organizations throughout the valley, and it was really, really nice to hear some of those things that actually take place in our valley, along with the fishing, along with that. I think there was a wildlife update, and lots of them were really, really good to hear, so it was all great.
Councillor Whyte.
Yeah, been pretty busy, the G4. One of the questions that came up at G4 was the possibility of the COPP Minitonas and or COPP Swan Valley giving us more in-depth reports on what's happening, number of people employed, number of hours covered, successes, areas of opportunity. Healthcare was discussed, and fire containment, all wonderful topics. February the 25th, we had the Cal meeting, and budget was a big part of that. On February the 27th, they had a medical service meeting. We were making plans for these 3 graduate medical doctors are very close to coming to Swanwick and making strategy for what to do with them, led by Deputy Mayor Moriaux and Mr. Gade. March the 3rd, we had the 3 new physicians and parts of families in town, and the tours were given. And again, Deputy Mayor Moriaux was a big part of that. On March the 3rd, I had an immigrant services meeting, and I always think about the cultural perspectives of bringing these people from all the different communities, and how wonderful and important that is to our valley. Not just the Ukrainian community, which I obviously favor a lot, but the things we learn from them. And then we start talking about the 120 plus or minus new families that live here that pay tax to provide services to the community. So it's a program that I respect a lot, and I'm sure we get a lot more than the $4,000 we give them back by the residents that bring to our community. Then on March the 4th, Deputy Mayor Moriaux and myself had 13, I have 13 forms, so there was at least 13 people there. These are R1s and R2s. R1s will graduate in a year and a half. The R2s will graduate this spring, and close. And those people are looking around still where to go. And we handed out a survey, and I have the results, brief results from that right now. And some of the things they said, why would they come to Swan River? We said, why would you come? Why would you not stay? Good mentors. And they said, our clinic was off the wall. Cost of living was reasonable. They were so impressed with the welcoming of the community as a whole, wherever they went. They said, all of your community is so supportive. Feeling support, having a good church here, and the CT scan. And they felt we had a bias-free, a lack of racism, which is a compliment relative to the media we receive. Their schools are very impressed with their schools. One family, Deputy Mayor Moriaux just told me they've already made a purchase order, or purchased an offer to buy a house as of today. So we're pretty excited about that. And the primary care clinic. The dark side, the areas of opportunity, partners. How do they get to partner? What does a partner do? What can we do for that? So we have to talk to whoever's in charge of partners. Family from being far away is a big issue. Some concern about childcare, crime. Some had concerns about crime, and the airport came up often. So those 13 young people, we've met some of them before. Councillor Moriaux and I have met them in Dauphin, but they're back double-checking to see what we have. And I think we got her down there on March the 4th. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. For myself, it was a G4 meeting in Minitonas. I had some follow-up meetings with one of the Reeves, as there's still a sticking point and concerns over the mutual aid agreement, clause 3.04, in regards to the number of firefighters on scene at a certain amount of time and whatnot. So a draft amendment was put forward to the municipalities and the fire board, and waiting to hear back from that resolution for there. So It's not a done deal yet. Hopefully, we're getting closer, so we'll see. I attended the community safety and well-being meetings virtually. We will be setting up, or I'll be contacting the hotel group and the business group to set up a virtual meeting with them, to be meeting with the consultants and that, to do through a walkthrough workshop per se, to have their concerns and addressed on what community safety is and what their thoughts are on that. So that'll be coming up shortly. Last week was the meeting with the budget, and then as Councillor Whyte mentioned, for the last couple days, I've been dealing with the tour of the international medical graduate doctors that are coming through, that toured the facility. They will be placed here upon successful completion of their exam. Basically, they're just doing some residency stuff throughout the province, but they will be stationed here for 4 years as a return to service, and then hopefully the intent is that they stay in the community with the focus of bringing their families here so that they're not commuting back and forth to the city. So there's been some positive feedback on that. Incidental to that, tours and stuff like that, the charter bus company that we've been doing with there is interested in actually relocating to Swan River himself after only being here twice to set up or look at some jobs. He likes driving, but he also has family that are in the healthcare world that he's going to talk to and come and look at the valley and see if they can't set up shop here also. So which is good to hear. Again, today at noon, we met with the the Parkland residency students from Dauphin that came here for a training day and some tours and with the community and some of the businesses, where we pitched the work-life balance of the valley to them versus just work scenarios. Also, one of the final things that we were working with as a request that was from U of M and students was for Swan River to hold the Rural Interest Week for a couple students to come here. And the physicians at the clinic were hesitant to join on to that due to their workload and ability to do it, mentor some first-year medical or second-year medical students come to the Valley for a week with that. So I had some discussions with the clinic manager, Megan Gray, with a proposal to put forward to the clinic where the students don't have to be with the physicians all the time, just a couple hours maybe, or not even in the clinic, but throughout the hospital and community events and tours, because it's a rural interest, so it's not just healthcare, it's exposing them to rural life. So we got word last night that the physician group has agreed to that, so we will put the word back out to U of M that we'll have a couple spots for them to send a couple medical students that want to come here. Because basically, it sounds like the couple of the students that were here for the rig weekend are the ones poking the bear to see if they can't come back for a longer extended period for a week to tour the valley and extend it to see what's there. So definitely some fruit from being born from that weekend already, where students are already asking to come back for a second look. So, and that's early on in their career. So that's all for that. So CEO Tewnion, anything from you?
Well, just been very welcome here. It's day 2, but it feels like the second week already. The days are flying by. Spending my priorities meeting the staff and seeing what I can do to support the great work they've been doing long before I came here. Thank you, Councillor Powell, for mentioning Director Harvey's work. It's made my transition that much easier. Sat down and hit the ground running. I know I had a chance, he took me out yesterday and I met most of the staff at the rink, at the pool, water treatment plant, of course in our office. Had a chance to meet all the councillors except Councillor Medwid. I look forward to that personal meeting. Today I met Chief Janai of Saboteur. There's 100 things that happened that I'll get accustomed to doing a written report, so I can give you the high level stuff. But I can assure you it's been extremely busy, but enjoyed every minute of it so far.
Okay, thanks. And as you go through your system and files, you'll see the previous reports from the CAOs that created sort of a template that can give you an idea of how you want to format it, but it's your report to formulate what you want.
Perfect, thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, moving on to new business, 8.1. Be it resolved that Councillor Tracy Boychuk of the town of Swan River be excused and be granted a leave of absence from her duties and obligation as councillor effective immediately to a maximum of 6 months. Be it further be resolved that all councillor indemnities be suspended while on leave until Councillor Boychuk resumes her duty as councillor. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by anybody seconding? Councillor Whyte. Discussion.
I guess my question is,
Councillor Bobick and then Councillor Medwid.
sorry, I guess my question is, what happens after 6 months?
After 6 months, her leave is ended and she needs to return to the table.
There's no, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and as the resolution says, it's to a maximum of 6 months. It could be 1 week, 2 weeks, to a maximum of 6 months.
And this fits into all our policies and procedures.
This is why it's coming forward to follow the legislative requirements. Councillor Medwid.
Just to kind of follow up with Councillor Bobick there, the Municipal Act does state that if we miss 3 consecutive meetings, we need to have a resolution passed for those meetings as well as any additional meetings. So that is why the resolution is on the agenda tonight. I do fully support this resolution and believe every member of council needs to be considered with respect, understanding, and support. And I'm interested in how the voting will turn out and noting whether fellow council members are unilateral in their support and understanding for all council members, or if it is preferential and selective in that.
Councillor Medwid, there's a point of order. Go ahead.
I think this has nothing to do with deciding on whether or not all council is in decision. That has nothing to do with what this has been brought forth.
Okay, so we'll reserve our comments to the resolution. Okay. Anything else? Councillor Medwid.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Councillor Whyte.
Is there in discussion that if you're privy to that, or I am privy to it either, that Councillor Boychuk has any ideas about what that timeline might be?
The timeline requested is to a maximum of 6 months.
That's a request? Or
That's the request. It's to a maximum of 6 months. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Agree.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay. Councillor Whyte?
I think that's okay.
Okay, what?
The first one.
You're in favor? Okay, so 4 in favor, 1 abstention.
Did you want that as a recorded vote?
No, you can just mark that there's 1 abstention. 4 in favor, 1 abstention. Okay, so the resolution's carried. 8.2. Computer's taking a holiday here. Be it resolved that Darren Harvey be removed as signing officer from Swan Valley Employment and Training Projects account at the Swan Valley Credit Union. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion. Councillor Bobick.
Why?
We're removing Mr. Harvey and putting in Mr. Tewnion.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Agree.
Carried. 8.3, resolve that Darren Harvey be removed as signing officer for the town of Swan River. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion. All in favor? Councillor Bobick?
Agree.
Carried. We did 8.4 already. 8.5, resolved that the Northwest Regional Library 2025 budget be accepted as received. Moved by, yep, Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. The Regional Library 2025 budget is attached. Is there any questions that I believe Councillor Powell is the chair, so she might be able to answer that for you.
I do have a couple questions. I was just noticing, if I'm allowed to speak,
Yeah, go ahead.
maybe I should confirm, okay. I was just noticing that under the expenses for audit and accounting, between the actuals of 2024 and 2025, there's a decrease of about, the actuals of 2024 and the projected budget for 2025, there's a decrease of just over $3,000. For caretaking, same thing, a decrease of approximately $3,000. Under building, sorry, I lost the document with my highlights, but that also showed a decrease between the actuals of 2024 and the projected for 2025. And payroll expenses, that one showed a decrease of $26,042 and some change. And when I add those all up, that's, to me, looking like a potential for shortage of up to $35,000 for the year. So I'm just wondering, one, why the reduction in those particular line items? And will there actually be enough money in the budget to cover those expenses, or does the library need to be asking for a little bit more money?
Councillor Powell, do you have a response?
I will have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
Can we maybe table the budget then until we know?
Okay, so,
There-
go ahead, Councillor Powell.
So in regards to, could you have maybe emailed or asked those questions previous of what exactly you wanted to know?
Yeah, I did have the document open with highlights, but it looks like I've closed it. So I will have to go back in and highlight those, get those exact numbers for you. I just want to make sure, because if we pass this resolution tonight, I don't know if we're allowed to raise the amount that we give to the library if it is needed. And that's why I'm suggesting we maybe table this until we know the answer to that, to make sure we pass a vote on what the library actually needs.
To my knowledge, this is what we have asked for, that is what we will work with. That is what I've been told, and we've discussed it with the auditor.
Okay, so Councillor Medwid has asked for a tabling. Is there a seconder for that?
Not that I'm seconding, I agree with Councillor Powell, like, the library sets their budget, okay? They're looking for approval here, so how they got there, I believe is their business, and I'm not saying that they don't know what they're doing, so I'm saying this is their budget that they proposed, and this is the time to vote on it.
Okay, so, okay, do we have a seconder for the tabling? Okay, so there's no seconder for the tabling. So if Councillor Powell, if you can have the library respond to Councillor Medwid with those questions for that, but as other,
If she emailed you.
okay. So Councillor Medwid, if you can email those to the board chair of the library, and they'll get forwarded on to the administration at the library to respond to those questions.
Okay,
Okay, so All in favor of the resolution? Okay. Councillor Medwid, you abstaining or are you against?
Abstaining.
Okay. So it's carried but with one abstention. Whereas the Community Resource Council in 2024 was approved for an operational grant of $1,000, and whereas they have requested a further increase of $1,000 for 2025, be it resolved that the increased operational grant of the Community Resource Council $2,000 annually. So moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded.
I'll move it.
Okay, it's seconded by Councillor Medwid. Discussion. Councillor Bobick.
So should these not be all moved as when we do all our, what's the word here?
So you're looking to table this like the
Yes.
previous grants to the,
To when we do all the grants?
okay, so that as we did last meeting with the
Yeah.
other grants that came through. So Councillor Bobick is moving that the resolution be tabled to the next council meeting in 2 weeks, on March 18th. Is that what you're asking?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Whyte. This,
I
okay.
believe this was already tabled to come back to the agenda today.
Nope, this is a new request grant that came forward. The other ones are still tabled till March 18th. So,
Okay, fair enough.
okay. So this will allow all the grants to be tallied and evaluated at the same time. So all in favor of tabling?
Agree.
Carried. Oops. So move on to accounts, 10.1. Resolved that the accounts as follow be hereby approved for payment. General accounts checks number 325632, 32593 totaling $74,235.80 as listed on Schedule A. Payroll account checks number P5537 to number P5539 and direct deposit payments totaling $94,421.92 as listed on Schedule B. Direct deposit payments totaling $730 as listed on Schedule C, and direct deposit payments totaling $2,870.07 as listed on Schedule D. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion. Councillor Bobick.
Check number 32563, Echo Strat. What does that pertain to? BDO zone designation consulting fees.
That's the Director Harvey, if you want to answer that.
I believe that was the consultant that previously worked with the town. There was a grant to cover that. That was to have a zone designation so that industry could see where a zone designation was and further encourage economic development.
That is correct. So it's an in and out monies grants from the federal government grant that we received to the EcoStrat consultants for that BDO rating that we acquired.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Agree.
Carried. 10.2, resolved that the 2025 Swan Valley Municipal Airport Commission levy in the amount of $34,131 be approved for payment once audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2024 have been received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion. You can see their draft budget, or pardon me, not their budget attached, not draft. Any questions? All in favor? Carried.
Agree.
10.3. Whereas the town of Swan River used municipal equipment, materials, and labor to carry out private works on private property under the Municipal Act Clause 252E and set the fees and charges for the works under Clause 252(1)A of the Act. And whereas the Town of Swan River has issued penalties to the owners of properties for violating bylaws 21/2022 and 6/2023, and the Municipal Act Subclause 236(1)B3 provides may be collected in a manner in which tax may be collected or enforced under the Act. And where sufficient time has been allowed for payment for such outstanding amounts as listed on the attached Schedule A totaling $8,798.32. Therefore, it be resolved that the unpaid amounts listed on Schedule A be added to the corresponding property tax roll and collected in that manner. Be it further resolved that notice be sent to each property owner detailing the amounts being added to the taxes and advising that interest will accrue on the said amounts in the same manner as for unpaid property taxes effective April 1st, 2025. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion. You'll see the list that's attached to the resolution, Schedule A. All in favor?
Agree.
Carried. 10.3, whereas Section 326 of the Municipal Act provides that a municipality may impose supplementary taxes, and subsection 306.1 provides that a municipality may cancel or reduce taxes upon receipt of assessment alterations from the Manitoba Assessment Services. Therefore, be it resolved that the assessment alterations provided by Manitoba Assessment Services on February 27th be made to the 2024 property tax roll, with the resulting increases totaling $107.07 and resulting decreasing totaling $115.05. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Any discussion? All in favor?
Agree.
Carried. Assessment altering, it's done. No notice of motion. So we're off to members' privilege. Reminder that you have 2 minutes. Councillor Whyte.
Welcome to CEO Mr. Tewnion. I've just enjoyed your sense of humor, if I can interpret that by your face, which I do. I'll take a big risk and announce that Swan Valley Sport Fishing is having their dinner on May the 3rd. We're going to have 500 people come for dinner, and all the money goes back into the community. It's wonderful that people do that for us, and they don't get heck for it. Somewhere in our list of things, I'm sure Mr. Tewnion will give us some suggestions. I still think we should have 24-hour RCMP, and we don't. And I'm not sure why that can't happen, but I'm looking forward to Mr. Tewnion. I still know where the Crown letter requesting a Crown be stationed in Swan River is, and why that letter hasn't gone. If it has, why not? And I still would like a COP report in detail of the numbers of people participating and how much hours taken, how much it costs. And we were told by the chief of police from whoever it was last week that they can have volunteers with batons and pepper spray. Can our COP people have that too, possibly? Something to think about. 1.45.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Whyte. Councillor Powell.
No, just a huge welcome. We had a quick chance to meet just briefly, but I will definitely stop in and have a visit and stuff. I guess the other huge part of, like I said before, was our thank you to Darren, or
Darren Harvey.
Darren Harvey for his work in the last little while, but also along with that is a huge thank you to all of our town staff who have obviously taken on the role of with Darren and helping him in the direction he has been put forth in. It's a big role. He did great, but just I think you have a great person there to be along your side to show you kind of the ropes and stuff like that. And look forward to all good things to come and you on board with us as a team.
Thank you. Councillor Bobick.
Thank you, Worship. Yes, welcome to the Swan River. Looking forward to working with you. Just to mention, when you mentioned the medical team, like, it's just a hats off to you guys. Like you're mentioned all over town. I don't know if you realize it, the number of people that are watching what you're doing and what's happening in the town of Swan River. I maybe travel in a little different areas than you do, and lots of people are watching, so hats off to you. So just with that thought on the town of Swan River, I had a chance of taking a tour of some of our facilities, and it would be interesting for the ratepayers to have a look inside our water treatment plant, and have a look at our pumps, how the town has kept these up over the years and how efficient things are run here. So I thought my thoughts are to do a video or hire somebody that knows how to do a video on some of these facilities that are here. Like I'll go, for instance, outside the town office, we're getting rigged up for a genset hook up in case of power. There's lots been done over the years and the progression that this town has done that should be shown. So we'll maybe work on that. Just on a lighter note, just now that I've quit smoking, my lungs have expanded, so I have to buy bigger clothes now. So just to let you know, if you're thinking of quitting, you're going to have to. Thank you.
Councillor Medwid.
Just a reminder that the Billy Beal Fishing Derby is coming up on Saturday, March 15th. There will be whole tickets on sale at the Co-op Friday from 10 to 5. March 7th, and then they will be Cook and Cook Insurance on March 13th and 14th, and that'll be your last chance to buy them in advance. After that, you'll have to buy them at the event, and the price does go up a little bit. So if you're thinking of going to the Billy Beal, now's the time to get your tickets bought.
And for myself, again, welcome Mr. Tewnion for starting your second day here, so hopefully we're not scaring you away. I know it's going to be a big transition from you from I guess a more law enforcement regulatory type role and office management, and now blending that all in with your past experience into the municipal world and the municipal languages that we knew. So as they say in healthcare, there's a whole new set of acronyms that you're going to have to learn. And then welcome to your family, also to the community. I know that you guys are not strangers here, and you're fitting right in. I know your spouse is already volunteering out with the schools and things like that, making the kids feel welcome at their activity. So it's already noticed that your already family is blending into the community. So thank you very much for that. So, and those with the rest of council, Director Harvey, thank you much for stepping in for just over the month. I know you were counting the days and crossing the calendar off there at the end, but for yourself and the staff in the office and in the departments for stepping up to do some of the extra work, especially with some of the new staff that's also been hired in the most recent few weeks of getting them trained, and then the departure of some. So it's been a juggling of roles. So council does recognize that staff have been stepping up, doing some extra work to make the office continue to be operational. So if you want to pass that on to the office staff that was under your guidance for the and Public Works and Recreation. So, and just to further to Councillor Bobick's comment regarding the medical services recruitment and stuff, well, none of these activities would not be possible that we're doing without the funds that are being allocated and collected by the 4 municipalities in the valley. With like $16 per capita is collected by the 4 municipalities and then held in trust for the Medical Services Committee at the Health Foundation that funds these activities. With the rig weekend, we gave a donation to Prairie Mountain Health to make this an annual event instead of just a one-off, to help cost the funds, because their pot of money didn't increase, but they had to do 2 rigs in PMH instead of 1. So we helped that, and we see the advantage of it. This week, or just yesterday and today, with the medical services up, the group had agreed to fund the charter bus to bring those physicians here along with their families. They're immigrants. They come from a more southerly warm climate compared to our Canadian climate. So driving in winter conditions and things like that with a family for 6 hours is a lot different than just driving a few blocks in the city, what they're traditionally were accustomed to. So, but it allows them to be rested up when they get here so that we can sort of really fill up their brain with a lot of information and exposure to what we have to promote the work-life balance in the community for it. So the committee wouldn't be able to do that without having access to those funds that's already there instead of having to pay. Now, we'd like to help you, but we need to go find some money first and then we'll get back to you. We're here, Johnny, on the spot with that, and right now we are the only community basically in PMH that has that ability to do that and assist Prairie Mountain Health in recruiting physicians to the valley, which is an assistance. Like, it's really not our role, that's the government and the health authorities, but we see the advantage of having health professionals in the valley and everybody benefits. So, Councillor Whyte.
Just relative to your comments, Deputy Mayor, the driver who brought the 30-some rig students out, he's from the Philippines or somewhere. He's a staff sergeant in some military force at one time. He's a really bright guy. He's the driver, and he comes in. Of course, he had banquet was cooked by this young lady and her sister, and shot the buddy from the team. He brings the bus out yesterday with the other doctors from Nigeria.
Nigeria, yes.
He waves out the window, and now he's talking to you. The byproduct of this whole evolution was to say, hey, maybe I should move up there. It's just neat how that goes.
CEO Tewnion, any members' privilege comments?
No, just thank you for everybody being so welcoming. And again, I reiterate, it's much easier when you have great staff that you get to come over and take over. And thanks for your oversight.
Director Harvey.
Yeah, thanks to all the staff. While I was in the interim position, they made things easy on me. For sure, the office staff, they stepped up and provided me with information that I needed for that role. And then also for Jordan Brooks, he always does a great job at Public Works. He really stepped up while I was doing the interim role to make sure Public Works kept chugging along. And I'm not gonna lie, I had a little smile on my face when I uploaded Director of Public Works report instead of the CAO report. So I'm glad Will's here, and in the meetings that I've had with him, I see good things for the town, so that's good. And then Mardi Gras is March 9th at Thunder Hill. So fingers crossed there's still snow there. And then April 11th to 13th, there's the gymnastics invitationals, or sorry, provincials. So there's lots of people that are doing lots of good volunteer work to put that on and have a little economic development for the town there.
Okay, thank you. CFO Gnida.
I just have a question. Will Rise be coming as a delegation to a future meeting?
I will make that request to it. So if we can gather our questions directly to CEO Tewnion so that we can forward those specific questions and requests, and we'll make the invitation for it to formalize that to get the documents and that we need. Okay, so thank you very much. Mr. Bergen, any comments from the...
I have nothing to add.
Okay, you can't leave you out sitting there by yourself without having to ask you. So. Okay, so we have nothing in camera. Sure. Double check just to make sure. Yep, there's nothing. Okay. Resolved that the regular meeting of council now adjourn at 8:34 p.m. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. All in favor?
Agree.
Councillor Powell, Councillor Whyte. All in favor? It's carried.